Hello students, welcome to your science lecture video. Today we're going to start with a new chapter, that is the cell. So students, in our day-to-day life we have come across the tall buildings or even the skyscrapers. But if we look at its structure, it would be built by some basic unit. What is that basic unit called? Those are the bricks, isn't it? When these bricks are piled one after the another, then only this huge structure is built. So, in the building of these large or tall structures, bricks are the starting material, or we can say that the bricks are the basic unit. Similarly, if we talk about any chemical substance or a compound, say a water molecule here, what is its composition? What is it made up of? As we have been studying from our elementary classes that everything is made up of small particles called atoms. So, these are the small particles that form a complete substance, which means atom is the basic unit because when these atoms combine, these help in the formation of molecules and further other substances are built. So, but everything starts with a basic unit, and that basic unit is known as the atom. Similarly, if we talk about any organism, that is the living organism, say human beings. Human beings are also built from some basic units, and those basic units are known as the cells. Cells divide and help in the formation of a huge human being, a full, well-developed human being. So, now, from all these examples, we can say that everything starts with a basic structure. But for non-living things, these basic structures are called as atoms. While as if we talk about the living organisms, in living organisms, these basic structures are called as the cells. So, from this, we can say that all living organisms, whether they are the plants or animals or even the microorganisms, everything are made up of the microscopic units called cells. Why do we call them as the microscopic units? Because these are not visible to us with our naked eye. We can only see cells through the help of a microscope. So we can say that all living things are made up of cells, and it is much similar as a wall which is made up of the bricks. And we know that these are the smallest unit of the life because everything starts with it and it cannot be seen with the naked eye. After being studied about this, we know that everything starts with a single cell, but these cells divide and help in the formation of other cells, which finally leads to a complete organism. For instance, a single cell divides into two cells. These two cells will finally divide into four cells, and that four cells will divide and will be continuously dividing until and unless a fully grown microorganism or an organism is formed. So we can say that all the cells exist from the pre-existing cell. A cell which is already existing divides and leads to the formation of other cells. So we can say that new cells arise from the pre-existing cells. Discovery of the cell. You have already known that all living things are made up of one or more cells. For this reason, cells are known as the building blocks of life. But who was the discoverer of these cells? Who was the first person who discovered the cells? So, cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. He looked at the thin slice of cork under the crude microscope. We can say, see, this is the corks. This is actually the oak tree, and the outer covering of this plant is called as the cork. So, Robert Hooke observed this cork under the crude microscope. As you can see here, the microscope that we see today is quite different from this one because at that time the microscope was not fully developed. So, the microscope which was present on that time is also called as the crude microscope. So Robert Hooke observed the thin slice of the cork under its crude microscope. And what did he see when he observed it? He observed that this thin slice of cork contains a box-like structure. These boxes were separated from each other by the partition. These are the box-like structures. He observed these box-like structures under its crude microscope, and he later called them as cells.